Good morning, everyone. Could have been better. I got some sauce with sriracha mixed in for my breakfast sandwich on my highlighter Black Wealth hoodie. So I am annoyed. It's all right, still plenty of things to be grateful for, but I had to go ahead and switch out of that real quick before this, and hopefully I've got like a Tide stick or something around here that can get that out because I mean, you just hate when you get a small stain on a piece of clothing. And like I'm that person where the rest of the clothing does not exist, it's only that small stain. So yeah, that lets you know I'm like that OCD guy. It's just like it doesn't matter if the rest of it's perfect. I just see that little dot, that little dot. So I'm gonna be going to battle with that after I get off of here. But before we go to battle in markets, we got to see what the heck has been going on here, and that's exactly why we're here for this pre-market prep session. We're here each and every day to go over what the market has for us, important news, notes, and analysis, and what are we doing when we're here. We're trying to get 1% better, right? We want to be intentional about that. So make sure you throw your ones in the chat stating your intention to get 1% better. And let's dive into it. Because, like I said, I got one of my favorite pieces of clothing right now that is fighting for its life against a little dot of sriracha right in the center of the chest, but it might as well be burning through the center of my heart. Top news on the way down. All eyes are on the U.S. Consumer Price Index for August, which is set to be published at 8:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, which was 28 minutes ago. While the Fed usually turns to the PCE price index as its favorite gauge to monitor price pressures, today's report is the latest inflation print before the FOMC rate decision next week. Again, countdown to cuts. We are on. Investors are primed for another soft reading, helped by a decline in gasoline prices during the month and a labor market that has been cooling. Snapshot, the headline CPI figure is expected to come in at 2.5%, which will mark the first time inflation fell firmly below the 3% mark in over 3 years. It would also mean that inflation is as close to 2% as to 3%. The Fed has set a 2% target as the goal for winning its inflation battle, and a big move in that direction would have broad impacts on monetary policy in a coming easing cycle. Quote, there are two broad categories that are still above 5% annual inflation: shelter at 5.1% and transportation at 8.8%, wrote Seeking Alpha analyst Amir Tokic. Quote, the return to price stability requires a stabilization in the shelter inflation given its weight in the CPI. In fact, the key argument for an expected return to price stability is the expected fall in rents. Now, Outlook Fed policymakers have made it clear that it's time to cut rates. However, the biggest debate on Wall Street is by how much. With the current target range at 5.2 to 5.5%, many feel that the Federal Open Market Committee will trim borrowing costs by the standard 25 basis point increment, but others see the potential of slashing them by a jumbo 50 basis points before any serious economic fallout ensues. Yeah, we'll have to see. Only time will tell, and we'll see, kind of how price action looks heading into the cuts and make our decisions from there. We know we're getting some type of cut. It's really just the magnitude of the bully here. I'm incredibly congested and definitely coming down with something. So don't know exactly when it happened, but I felt like so run down Monday, Tuesday, and waking up today and still feeling run down and feeling it in the throat. I was like, yeah, we got something going on. You guys know how it is though. We continue to push, but it's been a slog, so I'll continue to slog forward and maybe even enlist my family to bring me some fire cider. If you guys follow my mom, she's got some amazing like remedies. And anytime I get sick now and I can get some of that stuff, it literally like cures me like that. It's crazy. It's some like fermented drink. It's spicy. It's spicy now. It'll clear out your sinuses, but that's exactly what I need, as you can hear. Um, Outlook debate recap. Vice President Kamala Harris and former President Donald Trump faced off at the second presidential debate on Tuesday, where both candidates sparred over the state of the economy, inflation, and foreign policy. Both Harris and Trump touted their respective track records in office and even clarified their stand on the energy sector. Betting markets tipped slightly in favor of Harris winning the election after the debate, but the contest remains extremely tight. ING predicts that a Trump win would result in the selling of treasuries. Yeah, I didn't watch the debate. You guys know my stance on that. I'll give my energy to it when it's time in November. It won't take me that long to figure out who stands where and who stands on what. But at this point, I'm tired of both. I'm tired of both. I'd rather not give energy to it. Um, I feel like I logged into Facebook this morning just getting ready to get set up here, and everybody's just like, man, this sucked. Like this sucked. This sucked. I'm not about to spend my night watching that. Spend my night preparing to figure out how I'm about to do these, fancy football waiver wire pickups and doing some work and watching a little bit of TV, but I'm not about to sit here and watch these people yell at each other. So in terms of the debate recap, it looks like there was a little slight favor tip toward Harris. But we got plenty of time until the election, so we'll see if that holds out. Yeah, this is not a fun time. I wish that I was like around when I feel like it was a fun time to be involved in politics. I was still too young to vote for Obama, which sucked. But like I feel like that was the last time there was like fun stuff happening in politics. Um, and that it was like stuff that you can get behind. Now it's just tiring. It just seems very tiring. But also, I'm not here to talk politics at all. I'm here to talk money. So let's keep talking money and stay, on track. Financials, Basel III on Tuesday, which was well below the 19% increase floated in the original plan. Vice Chair for Supervision Michael Barr said the updated deal would bring the benefits and costs of the hike into better balance. Shares of too big to fail banks still fell, led by JP Morgan after its president, Daniel Pinto, warned the earnings expectations were too high. Ally Financial also plunged 18% after flagging worsening credit conditions among borrowers. So you got JPM looking a little shaky, right? Ally looking a little shaky, dropping 18%. Nothing that we were involved in. I feel like the most recent thing we've done regarding the finance sector was our smash trade on Visa here this week. So, managing to avoid and dodge all the other tomfoolery, I'll take it. Also, let's check into this. Let's check into this inflation read, CPI data. Uh, Okay, US CPI month over month, actual 0.2%, estimated 0.2%, year over year, 2.5%, estimated 2.5%. Core CPI month over month, actual 0.3%, estimated 0.2%. Then US core CPI year over year, actual 3.2%, estimated 3.2%. So only one number came in hot, and that was CPI month over month core. So core CPI came in a little hot month over month, but everything else looks exactly in line with what was expected. U.S. short-term interest rate futures drop after CPI report as traders trim bets on Fed rate cuts. Traders bet Fed to start rate cuts with a 25 basis point next week, see 100 basis points total of rate cuts this year. Traders shred bets on jumbo Fed rate cut in September. So yeah, it doesn't really look like, and also like we dropped initially upon the news coming out, but now we've like popped back over it and we've recovered all that drop. And it was a small drop, like a 5 minute candle drop. But we've recovered all of that. So we'll see how the market continues to react to this, but it looks like, at least based off of, the initial knee-jerk reaction, that, people aren't expecting a 50 basis point rate cut anymore after we see core CPI coming in hotter than expected. Defense news, long range. Russia has received a transfer of FATH 360 ballistic missiles, according to the U.S., prompting the West to impose fresh sanctions against Iran. We've warned Tehran publicly, we've warned Tehran privately that taking this step would constitute a dramatic escalation, Secretary of State Antony Blinken declared. Quote, Russia has now received shipments of these ballistic missiles and will likely use them within weeks in Ukraine. Blinken also said Moscow is sharing nuclear and space related technology with Tehran, but the latter called the claims completely baseless. I mean, I feel like there's got to be some you scratch my back, I scratch yours, and Iran has been trying to get nukes forever. I feel like my whole lifetime and beyond, they've been trying to get nukes. So maybe Moscow helps them out. Who knows? Is it that hard to get nukes? Like to make them? I don't know. Like, does it take this long? I mean, I guess with all the restrictions, probably yeah. Because we have, stringent restrictions imposed upon them, but it just seems like, do you really want these nukes, man? I feel like if you did, you'd probably have them by now, because it just seems like a long time. Oppenheimer seemed like he did it pretty quickly. No, I'm kidding. That's completely, you cannot correlate that at all. But today's markets in Asia, Japan down 1.5%, Hong Kong down 0.7, China down 0.8, India down 0.5. The footy in London up 0.1%, Paris up 0.3, Frankfurt up 0.3, Dow down 0.4, S&P down 0.2, Nasdaq down 0.3. All of that has changed. Crude oil up 2.4%, gold up 0.3, Bitcoin down 1.2%. Biggest thing today, of course, CPI data, right? We got that in and out, finished pretty much all in line with expectations, except for core CPI month over month, which was a little hot. What else is happening? Campbell's Soup, ticker CPB, plans to drop soup from its iconic name. I mean, it makes sense. They produce more things than soup. Sony, ticker SONY, to release PlayStation 5 Pro, priced at $700. Why do I feel like that's not that much? I don't know how much they used to be, or maybe I'm just getting confused with iPhones, but I feel like they didn't used to be that much. Nike shareholders block proposal on human rights issues. Google Cloud CEO details path for AI monetization. Amazon Web Services invests £8 billion in the UK to boost data centers. Reports 16 new GLP-1 weight loss drugs could be launched by 2029. Wow. Nearly half of Southwest board will quit after pressure from Elliott Management. Starbucks CEO refocusing on community coffee house vibe. GameStop, ticker Game, sees Q2 sales plummet, but turns a surprise profit. Oh man, so funny. Palantir chairman Peter Thiel files to sell up to $1 billion in the stock. My man is trying to lock down some gains. But that's it, right? Beautiful people. That'll wrap us up and take us out here. September 11th, 2024, right? As always, remember the lives that were lost today. I started off kind of comically dealing with the stain in my hoodie. But this is a day that forever lives on, right, in all of our hearts. We lost a lot of great people today, a lot of great responders. So make sure you take some time just to recognize them internally, right? Close your eyes within your heart, show gratitude, and then keep it pushing, right? Keep it pushing and make sure that you honor all of those people, right, who gave their lives on September 11th and otherwise to continue to make sure that you have the ability to close the gap between where you are and where you want to be. Because that's a privilege. And I don't take it lightly, right? So even on the sick days, let's keep pushing. And yeah, I'll see you guys back here tomorrow morning for our next pre-market prep session. Have a good one.